All right, in this demonstration, I'm going to go ahead and start showing the process of paper macheing your portrait of your person. And I've got my paper cut into triangles. Here, some people have newspaper, some people have the manila paper in the number of sheets. So if you end up running out of newspaper or paper, just let me know. Now when you do this with the newspaper, a lot of times you can just tear it straight down. There's a spot where there's a little bit of like a jagged area. But with this paper, my balloon keeps flying around here. Gotta put my balloons in first. I'm just gonna cut a strip. And then I'll just do triangles. That's about right. And so it does take a while to cut these things out, but maybe if you're really nice, you can ask siblings or parents to sort of help you cut these out. So that's about a pretty good size when I put these things on there. So I've got those kind of off to the side. I have my glue solution. This one's almost out because I've been paper macheing on my piece already. Okay, but you want it pretty much about that consistency. Okay, you don't want it any, like really any thicker than that. I could probably thin that out a little bit, but you need to make sure that you have a container that's reasonable in size that comes with a lid. And so you want to find one that's kind of like one of the ones you get at the grocery store where it's a disposable container, because you don't want to have, because it's not going to be food safe anymore once you get the glue in there. So it's going to be kind of like a permanent art container from here on out. So don't grab something nice from your house. You know, see if you can find something that's like this that your parents won't mind you getting all sort of messed up. Okay. And as you apply the paper mache, we're just simply sort of dipping it in, going on either side, and you're going to scrape off on the side of your little container, and then we're just going to simply put it on our form. Now the forms we are going to be using are the balloon forms. So I've included a balloon in your kit. I've included 2 in most people's kits. Some people may only have 1, so let me know if for some reason yours has a hole in it, and we'll see about getting you a different one. Before I can just sort of start sticking this stuff directly on the balloon, like so, there's something I'm going to do first. And so just take your tape, and we're actually going to sort of tape all the way around it and all the way around it the other way. That way it has something, the paper mache has something to stick to. Because what will happen is that you'll get these all layered up all nicely, like most of the way around, and they'll dry, and you'll kind of push the balloon a little bit, and the whole thing will sort of pop off. So if we paper mache this directly to a piece of tape that's stuck to the balloon, it's going to stay there and it's not going to go anywhere. So let me do that really quickly first. Okay, so now it's on there, and now I have a place for it to stick to. So when I cover this whole area, it's going to be glued to these, which is also going to be stuck to this. And of course, eventually, once we get our 2 layers at least, maybe even 3, we can pop this and we can pull the balloon out at the end. Okay, so again, when we start doing this, I'm just going to take my little piece, I'm going to dip it in my glue, and I will scrape it on the sides, and I'm just going to cover sort of my tape, sort of nice and smear it on there. And I'll just do it again. And so it's very similar to the plaster strips. And again, some of you may have experience of this from last year, the first semester. And as I do this, just make sure to overlap just like the plaster strips each time, dipping in and overlapping. And again, start out over that tape first. Okay, we just keep going over and over again. And again, if you're running out of materials like glue, if you run out of materials like paper, let me know and I will leave those things in the office for people to pick up. Okay, so what your goal is, you want to cover the entire balloon with at least one layer, the very least one, because if you just have one, even when it's dry on mine, and you can see it coming up in this video, is when I push on it, I can still push on it and it's fairly soft still. Once I get about 2 or 3 layers on there, it's going to harden up, but I don't necessarily need to get 2 or 3 layers on it before I start building off of the main form. I just need enough for tape and things to sort of start sticking to you, because you have to do this in layers, because it takes quite a while when you put all of these on there for this to be dry enough, because it'll still be damp, for you to tape pieces on, like you're going to see in my next video, to where we can go from our balloon form to our paper mache piece. And of course, anytime you put the paper mache, it sort of re-wets everything, and then it's got to dry kind of all over again. Okay, but like when this dries, this is going to be pretty thick in here because I've got quite a few layers in here, but you can still sort of see my balloon from before underneath. So eventually you'll need to go back in and you'll need to layer that in with a couple of more layers. And so we want to make sure we don't see the tape anymore on our layers. All right, coming up, we're going to start building these forms out, and we'll go from our basic balloon form to building these things out and building some of the facial features and structures of the face.